We're talking under your roof. You know, it's one thing to know a lot about what somebody does. It's a whole nother thing to know about more of who somebody is.
Okay, so hey, we're under your roof and we're right back at it. We've got, I say, Abilene celebrity. I don't know how we didn't talk about
celebrity.
How Karson wanted to be introduced. But like from afar, I'm like, man, if I would have been doing some of the things. How old are you? You're not supposed to ask girls that, but I know she's so young we can do that. If I could be 26 today, there's so many things I would be doing, and it's like I have FOMO because you're doing the things I would want to be doing. But seriously, like, and of course I know your dad extremely well and your mom and your family, I think a lot of you guys, but the idea of what we're talking about here each time we come together is like, hey, people get to know you from a surface level by the things that you do, but really, who are you? You're young. You've had multiple businesses at this point. You're married. You're preggo. You're officially a Disney adult.
Disney adult? What does that even mean?
We got so many things, and some people probably know that, but you know, under your roof is like, and you do a good job of this, I think, because my daughters follow and they follow you and think the world of you, but letting people into your life, like in what we believe is your most of who you are when you're in your house, in your safe place. Nobody's around. That's really where we want to get to. So let's start with the meal, and then we'll work backwards,
okay,
and then we'll go wherever we go.
Okay.
Talk about the meal.
Perfect. Well, no, I'm just kidding. So the mill was never, ever on my radar. There's lots of things on my radar. There's lots of things I want to do.
How many things do you secretly have on your radar right now?
Like 30.
I figured that.
And the list continues to grow. But the mill was never one. There was an aspect of it that one of my dreams since childhood, which they change constantly, but one that stayed the same was that I wanted to own a wedding venue.
Yeah.
So that was really what was the most interesting part about the mill to me. Never had I wanted to own a wine bar. That was never on the radar. But of course, we weren't.
Or a bingo hall.
Or a bingo hall. We had turned into.
Or 80s night.
Or an 80s bash
or a market hall.
Or a pickleball court. Or
all these things have come into play now. But when we first started talking about getting the mill, it was really more, the focus was going to be weddings. But of course, it's been here for 10 years.
Right.
It's an iconic place in Abilene. We didn't want to take away the wine bar side, which is what people have known for forever. So we've tried to continue on with that.
And you've enhanced it.
Well, thank you.
You've brought other wines into it.
We've tried,
It's
yes.
not just what was always there, which is cool.
We've got the cigars still.
Yeah.
We've tried to broaden the cigar selection as well. We have an exciting, actually, partnership with the Leaf coming up.
Nice.
We'll talk more about that later, but that'll be awesome.
Cliffhang. Don't let everybody know everything.
Yeah. But so we're doing that. So that was never really on the radar, but the event side has been super fun. We've done some kind of renovations, try to make it look a little more wedding-esque. Yep. And so we're really pushing weddings this year too, as well as the wine bar side. So
it's fun.
It's been fun.
Well, and Thursday night you got steak night. You've kept that tradition, but you've added some things to it, you know? So it's like, you know, from what I've seen with, you know, Karson is like, you bring you into whatever it is that you're doing. And so anything you're doing, then it goes. And the fun part for me is my daughter Molly, she actually had she has an interview today for a job, but she had her first ever job at Karson's. And so like Karson's like the first person ever employed our kid, kind of like probably the Shed was for you guys with Macy.
Yep.
Was that the first place you worked?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like, it's just, I'm thankful, you know, for you and for what you're doing. You're a great example. I know it's not perfect though. So
my wife worked at the mill. Fun fact.
She did.
Right, she did.
Really? She did.
Yeah.
What years?
Oh, geez. Probably 2016 for about 8 months. She was finishing her degree. She's a teacher now, but that was really the only job other than being a teacher that she's had in Abilene was at the mill. So,
all right, I'm going to put you on the spot and want you to tell us a funny story that I only know one side of.
Okay. What?
Circa Day, some church camp, and they totally made the kids believe that Taylor Swift was coming to the camp, and then you staged it.
Oh, no.
This was a real story, right?
Yeah, this is
but
real.
They bought it.
They did, and I felt really bad.
So you are a Swiftie.
Yeah, I am a Swiftie.
Okay, and you went to the stuff.
You're a Swiftie.
I'm not a Swiftie.
Whatever.
I am not a
Swiftie.
Swiftie.
Yes, you are. You tell the story about going up. What was it? New Mexico, Arizona.
Y'all went to the first show.
First show.
I was so jealous of y'all.
We went all the way to Glendale, Arizona, man.
Dude, you take so much pride in that story. I don't even want to hear it. You are 1,000% a Swiftie dad.
I live like this. I'm the kind of dad that is gonna let it's not that we don't have rules, because we do, but not many. It's all based off how well I can trust you. But if you're going to go into something, especially new, I'm going with you. And like whether that's we're learning about social media, we're doing it together. You want to watch that show? Awesome. We're going to sit here and watch it together. So you want to go to Taylor Swift concert? Guess what? I'm your luggage.
And you were all in.
No,
I
I
feel
wasn't.
like you were all in.
He was all in.
No, I wasn't. But I will tell you, it was a pretty incredible show.
There we
Like,
go.
it was like 3.5 hours nonstop. It was pretty good. The concerts I've been to, they sing 10 songs, they come back and do an encore, and that's it. This was, dude,
Full
you got
on.
your money's
Crazy.
worth. Yeah. Anyway, so what was your favorite TV show growing up? Did you
Favorite
watch
TV
TV?
show? I didn't watch a lot of TV growing up. But
That's why you're making money in business. You didn't waste your time.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I
that's
did
what they
watch
say.
a lot of. This was before. I mean, I'm young, but not that young. This was before all the streaming services were out. So I grew
Right.
up on. We got cable TV when I was in 6th grade. So I watched a lot of the Nature Channel. I watched a
Wow.
lot of documentaries on deep sea creatures and
Yeah.
the jungle.
So you're a National Geographic.
I was real into
fan.
animals. I wanted to be a vet
Okay.
growing up until my.
Do you have a pet?
Oh, we have 3 dogs and a cat.
Ah. What are their
But-
names?
Poppy, Lady, and Sunny. And then our cat's name is Yellowfoot. She was a barn cat that wasn't supposed to live very long. She was a country girl, and then she got upgraded to live inside the house with Harrison's parents, and then they decided
What-
they didn't want her, so we adopted her. So she has a weird name. But
What do you
she-
do with these dogs when you go to Disney World 9 times a year?
You go to Disney World 9 times a year?
we went 5 times this past year.
Okay, wait.
You're up.
I need the
Camera's up.
I need the Disney background. Like,
Okay, so
here we go.
I know I'm embarrassed, and I try to explain the difference.
If I
in,
could go to Disney World 5 times a year, I would absolutely do it.
Okay,
I love
thanks.
Disney World.
And here's the thing. I try to explain the levels. There's levels of Disney adults. There really is. But
Okay,
to the
well,
outside,
explain that.
to the
Levels of-
outside
okay.
perspective, they're all the same. We're all the same. And that's fine. But my thing is, like, I would never have my wedding at Disney World. And, like, I don't wear Disney stuff when I'm not at Disney World. Like, I'm not, like, repping, like,
Yeah,
Disney
you don't have
t-shirts.
Mickey Mouse ears on it.
Right,
at
I
bingo
don't have
night.
Mickey decorations in my house. Like, I'm not that level of Disney adult.
Okay,
But we
but there
did
is
have,
that.
there is that.
Is
There
that
is
level
that.
1 or that level 5?
No, that's like kind of the highest.
Okay.
I
Like
think
stage
we're
5
like,
clinger.
we're like,
But Disney.
but Disney.
But
I feel like we're like a mid range. So we had annual passes this past year, which
Okay.
is why we went so many times.
Right.
So
I mean, you bought it, you might as well use it.
we might as well use it. So what happened was I went to Disney World one time when I was a kid. It was
How
for,
old?
I was 6th grade,
Okay.
7th grade. My sister was in high school. So we were older. But we went on a grand trip for my birthday, her birthday, and my parents' 25th anniversary. We're celebrating
That's
it all.
awesome.
We went big. So
Yep.
we went once. Harrison,
And
on
your
the other
dad
hand,
probably just,
oh, they loved it.
yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah.
awesome. I mean, you've been, you know.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm a Disney dad.
Harrison grew up on the, Harrison's my husband. He grew up, they went many times growing up. So he's more of like the Disney, he knew about it. I'm like, I went once when I was 13.
Is he a higher level than you?
He's not a higher level than me. I
Okay.
think he's a little lower level than me, but just like by like 0.5. Like he's
Okay.
just as excited about it as
Disney's
me.
like controlled chaos. That's the best way I can put it.
Well, you didn't go until you were in the 6th grade, but they were marketing to you in the womb.
Right.
You come out as a baby in Disney shows, characters. I mean, your kids watch The
Books.
Princess, all that,
Mhm.
yeah. And so by the time you're there, it's like you step into a world you didn't know you were already in.
Yes.
They're geniuses, man. Greatest marketers ever. Go ahead.
So I hadn't been in years. I think it had been like 12 years since I'd been. We got married October of 2023, and we were going to go to Italy for our honeymoon. Well, I'm an anxious flyer, and I decided a month or 2 before the wedding,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm
Epcot's got
stressed
Italy.
out.
Why do I gotta go to
Exactly.
Europe?
So I'm so stressed out about our honeymoon, and I'm like, it's kind of ruining things for me. Can we just, I jokingly said, let's just go to Disney World. He was like, okay. And I was like, are you being
really meant that?
serious? I didn't realize you liked Disney World. Like, I knew he'd been a couple times, but we'd never talked about Disney World. I just jokingly said that. He's like, no, I love Disney. I'd love to go. And I was like, well, I haven't been since I was 12 years old. Let's really go. So we went for our honeymoon and discovered like that is our thing. Like
Love it.
some people think like, and some people experience different experiences than us. It stresses them out. It's not good for their marriage.
Right.
Us, it's like,
Yep.
we're a team. We're jumping these lines. We're getting these right. We're
Dang
like,
right.
it
It's a
is
mission. It's like people
it
have
is
to
so
understand.
fun for us.
Have you been?
yes, I have been. It's been a while, but yes, I have been.
Disney World is not a vacation.
Right.
It is a mission.
Exactly.
and you go with a plan. I'm probably level 4 based on the things you said. You go with the plan. I've got him in my phone, saved notes, shared things with my daughter. Molly's a level 4. Like, she wants to work there.
Yeah.
And like it's a daily mission on how you're going to attack the day. And like, I'm good at it.
Right.
I'm just going to go ahead and
And
say.
you don't have to do that. People can
you don't.
go.
You can ride a scooter real slow if you want. Not me.
So actually, here's the thing. Harrison is not like that. Harrison just goes to bed and he wakes up in the next morning and is like, what are we doing? And I'm like, here's the attack
Harrison
plan.
ain't on my
I'm
trip.
the same way.
And then he just goes along with the attack plan. So we're a good duo.
You have to have the go-getter.
I enjoy the attack plan.
We kind of cheated a little bit when we went because Disney, not a lot of people know this, Disney actually has a military resort on the property.
I did not
It's called
know
Shades
this.
of Green. And it's only available to military and retirees.
Can you get us on?
If you're with me.
Bro.
But it's kind of cool because, the buses that go from like the hotel to the parks, well, we have our own bus. We don't share it with the rest of the park. So
level 6.
Yeah.
You didn't know about level 6.
Yeah.
We got another
and it's like tax free in the hotel.
Level
like,
7. You didn't know about level 7.
It is a nice hotel.
Okay. The seed got put in you. Let's correct. You're an entrepreneur.
Back on track.
You're a risk taker. You've got 30 things that you're not telling people about that you're thinking about, like you said. And I know it's probably exaggeration, but maybe not. What is it that makes you think have that? You just always had that as a little kid growing up. I know there was a time when y'all were on a trip and you were making some things to raise some money for. You don't have to get into all that, but that like, oh my gosh, I can make money. I can do this for that, but there's got to be something deeper than that, right?
Yeah.
Like, so what is it?
I think it's something that I've always had. I think my dad also has it. You know, my dad
does.
I think it's something I always had. In terms of like the money making thing, that yes, I discovered in high school that all these little things that I enjoy doing, I could make money off of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it doesn't come from that naturally. I think people who are entrepreneurs naturally just enjoy it because they enjoy taking on projects, doing new things, trying new things, and like feeling that. Yeah.
Like to build?
Yeah.
And there's a service side of it.
Yeah.
Like you enjoy people. You can't be in what you do and not like people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Does that mean you like all people?
No.
So sometimes people can be difficult to work with.
Right, exactly.
But somewhere it's worth
part.
it. So again, like deep down inside, there's something that's just a passion there that you have. You have some of that, like to serve and to do and
Man, I was talking about this actually this week. I mean, so you're 26 years old. I'm 39, just turned 39, retired from the military, and I'm going to school for my master's degree in business with an entrepreneurship pathway. And it's, I kind of got interested in that because I have so many friends that I've met here that are business owners and all that stuff, but it just I kind of want to piggyback off your question. Like, you're 26 and you've had several businesses.
How many have you owned so far?
I did the jewelry /store
Ding.
first. We can count the Commons, I guess. That was the storefront next door where I had the little booths where other
Ding.
businesses could have a storefront without having,
They make them do that with a little ding. Yeah. Go ahead. I'll keep dinging because it's fun though.
I do wedding photography and videography.
Is that 2 businesses?
No, it's just
Ding.
one. And then
And that photography doesn't have to be weddings because it could be all sorts of
right,
other
we do
things.
all kinds of stuff.
I mean, we did a photo shoot with my daughter. She was probably like her 10-year-old birthday, and then we did prom pictures. So it's like once you get a camera, you
can do whatever
you're willing to say yes to, I guess.
What else?
I mean, I guess Commons was Carson's.
Yeah, that was with
Same
Carson's,
thing?
Yeah.
Well, then you have the mill.
Now the mill.
Okay, so now go back. You're 26 years old. You've had 4 businesses.
4 businesses. That is just impressive. And so like, every business owner friend of mine that I've talked to, they said, they kind of make fun of me because I'm getting a master's in business and entrepreneurship, because most of them have just been like, dude, the number one trait is you just got to do it. You just got to, like, you have no idea what's going to happen. You just got to go. And so like, how do you do that? Like what?
To me, it's more like, how do I not? I kind of have to be reeled in. So like I've always been the kind of person that's like, why not try? Like if it's not going to, which the mill is the biggest, scariest thing. And that one was a little less like, go with my heart and why not try, because it was a huge thing.
You're taking on a lot.
But the other things I've done have always just been like, what's it hurt? Like you might lose a little bit, but like if you don't try, you will never know. And so there's been a million other things that I've wanted to do that it's like, I'm just too busy right now. We really don't need to try. You won't do that well if you're going to do that. But I'm more like, you just do it. Like you do just do it. And I'm more of like, I talk to my friends and family about ideas and they're like, maybe not right now.
So
maybe you need
to. You got a tribe.
Reel it in. But for me, my thing was always like, if it's not going to hurt you too bad, why not just try? And I feel like I have friends who have wanted to do things and they've been nervous. So I'm the one that they call and I'm like, just do it. You know what I'm going to say when you call me. I'm going to tell you to just do it. Yeah. So do it.
So there's a passion there.
Yes.
Point of you're now gotten to a point where you have younger people who have watched what you're doing and now you are leading in some ways, and we were talking earlier, there's generations in Abilene, there's people that have been doing this for years and years. There's up and coming and you're in the flow of all this, even downtown and where things are located, and so it's really cool to see. I think that we have to have each other to do things like this, degrees. You went to college.
I did go to college.
To ACU, right? What'd you get a degree in?
Business management with entrepreneurship concentration. So.
Do you find yourself...
Need to pick your brain. I got homework I need
I
your
don't
help
remember
with.
anything from college. So.
Close your ears because this isn't bad what I'm about to say. We have a daughter that's fixing to go to college. I am of the mindset that I don't know in today's age that you need a degree to really go have success. I think it's more about the connections, the network that you meet, all those kinds of things.
Well, that's 90% of why I'm going to get my master's
out
right now.
of your comfort zone, going and doing something. Yeah, there's an accomplishment attached to it. In no way am I saying a college degree is not a good thing. Right. But like in Abilene, it's like, well, I don't care what people think, but in Abilene, it's you got these 3 universities. They produce a whole lot of leaders as years go on in this town. You got tech down the street, and it's like you got to have these things next to your name. And I'm going, I don't think so. I don't think you have to. Not now. In the 80s, in the 90s, it's like it's a this or that. It's just not that way. So you got some that are asking you questions that didn't go to college, but they like what holds them back is really what? Anything? Nothing?
Money,
the startup to do it.
Yeah.
And
I think, for entrepreneurship specifically, yes, I agree completely.
Yeah.
I feel like, not that I didn't learn anything at ACU, but it was the connections with my professors, with the Grigg Center, with things like that. And then really, I feel like I learned more from more experiencing business, just hands-on, than I did in classes.
Yeah.
But that would not be the case if I didn't have hands-on experience. I definitely would have learned more in classes, but it was really the connections and stuff. Now, if you want to be an accountant, you can't go be an accountant without a degree.
Right.
If you want to be a doctor, you can't go.
I need to rewind a little bit of my big mouth and go, if you're going to cut my leg off, I need you to have some schooling.
I would like you to have a degree in.
Yeah.
But in terms of entrepreneurship and wanting to own your own business, absolutely not. There's so many resources out there for small businesses and things you can be doing. But
if you weren't an entrepreneur, what would you be?
I wanted to be a vet, which I never finished my little story on that.
Did we cut you off?
No, we went off on a different trail.
We went everywhere.
But my whole life, I was going to be a vet until junior year of high school. I had to take physics, and my physics teacher told me that I was terrible at physics, and I was not going to be able to be a vet because I have to do a lot of physics when I get to college, and it's just not my thing. Isn't
Seriously?
that crazy? So yeah, that's what made me not be a vet. But I'm glad I wasn't. I'm glad I didn't decide to be a vet.
Dream killers.
It's taken me many other places, but yeah.
Like, what's been some tough things you've had to deal with?
Well, the food industry sucks.
Is it hard?
Yeah, it's hard.
And it's like you said, hey, I bought this. It's a venue. There's a wedding. Now I've got the restaurant side.
Yes.
We just call it restaurant.
Yeah, it's technically a restaurant.
But one night a week, so you don't do it every day.
But we got to have all the same certifications and follow all the same rules as someone who's serving all day, every day. Yeah. It's a restaurant. So, yeah, that was, my husband and I, neither of us had experience in the food industry. Yeah. I have lots of experience other places, service, customer service, all this. But the food, we jumped in there like deep in with no floaties, and it was tough. It was hard the first, I would say, like 3 months. I was seriously wondering, like, was this a mistake? Was this a mistake? Because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't like the way that we're treated. The food industry, you just get treated different. Like people just, there's no mercy when it comes to food. And I get it. It's your food.
It's not cheap.
If there's something wrong,
it's worth the value, in my opinion.
Right.
I think it's actually underpriced, but
oh well, thank you.
when you compare to other steak houses and things that you go do, and the environment and all that, I think you pay for that stuff. So, what do you say to, not necessarily the service you provide, but you've got young teen girls or up and coming business people, what we're mentioning, and there's this thing an entrepreneur has to do to get over worrying what people think about them. Not what they're doing, not their service, not did it taste good, but like here she is, she's doing another thing, or this, that, or the other. Like there's I don't want to get into the Swiftie vein, but there's something about, you, I'm sure have people that encourage you and your family.
Yeah.
But what does that look like? Has that always been easy?
Yes and no. So I think I'm glad we brought up Taylor Swift, because I don't want to be like, she's my role model, because there's many other people that are my role model and better role model. But like I did, like growing up, my sister was 5 years older than me. So I was always listening to Taylor Swift because she was older and that's what I grew up on. So we always listened to her. And like I knew that Taylor Swift started out on a pier with like 10 people watching her, and she's playing her little guitar and she really wasn't that good. And I look at her now and she's sold millions and millions of tickets to her shows. And it's like, she had to just humble herself and throw herself out there. Yes. No, I'm just kidding. But I did like growing up, I really did see Taylor Swift as a big like inspiration. And I'm like, she wasn't afraid to get out there and do something. And so I think that I had lots of support around me. I think it would be hard if I didn't have support. I would have been more like nervous. But I think I've lost.
Quit. I mean, quitting's easy. Yes. And once you start doing it, it becomes a habit.
Yeah. And I think I've lost the care of like, if I'm doing something new, I think people just expect that. I think if people look up and it's been 2 years and I haven't done something new, they're like, oh, something's wrong with her.
What's wrong? Yeah, but you had
What's
to
wrong
punch
with that
through
girl? She hadn't done something new. Yeah. So I think that it's become normal for me to just always be doing something new. But at first, it was definitely hard to be like, oh gosh, well, I'm gonna try this now, but I'm kind of nervous to announce it or say like I'm doing something new but I've kind of gotten over that.
But you've got these things coming. You mentioned already. All right, with the meal, this one's a bigger one. You have a baby. Mm-hmm. You've gotten married. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, there's these things that are starting to anchor your life. Yeah. Which is a good thing.
Yes.
And so how's that feel compared to that whole new? It's like, okay.
That's a lot of life in
26 years. Yeah. I mean, or have you really had time to just sit in that and think about that?
Kind of. I would say like I am feeling much more grounded given that I am married. We are having a baby and we do have this business because there was always, being recently graduated from college, both me and Harrison, watching all your friends move away and get jobs in the city. And it's hard. And so it was hard to want to stay settled here. And we would always talk about, well, what if we did just go, what if we went just for a couple of years, whatever. So I feel like the mill has given us that piece of just okay, we have found our thing. We're going to stay here. We're not leaving, and that's okay. You don't have to leave to be successful in life. No. And I think that that's a stigma that Abilene has, is that if you don't get out of here, then you're doing something wrong. You stayed in your hometown. But I feel like for me, that was what gave me the opportunities that I've had to this day, is because I did stay. But no, definitely now that we're having a baby, it's like both of our families live here.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going
Do you know
anywhere.
if it's a boy or girl?
It's a boy.
Have you named it?
Thomas.
Old Thomas. What's the middle name?
Thomas. Daniel. It's a family name from Harrison's
TD,
side.
touchdown.
TD.
TDR.
Yeah. Go Chiefs.
You can't start throwing, and out, stuff like that, because then moms will typically be like, I didn't think of that. No, I don't like that.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
She doesn't care what people think, man. We just covered this. To a certain degree. Hey, we don't care what people think, because I did say that about the college thing. You do. You have a care. You have an immense desire to please people and to provide something that's excellent for them. And you want them to go share great things about it. But the reality is, when you put yourself out there, you're always going to make yourself a target for all the other sides of it. And so you have to have some thick skin. It's part of what you do. And you have to have the right kind of people around you, and you have it. It's good. And without that, you would really struggle,
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, you are, again, I said it a second ago, you've done a lot, you've had a lot of life in 26 years, and it's pretty inspiring to see and hear and kind of watch you and obviously knowing your dad and Zach, and just following you from afar, I guess is the best way to put it. You're a mentor, right? And I think, you mentioned your girls looking up to you, me telling you that you're a mentor. Like, what do you think you would say to young people, young women who want to go into a leadership role and to really take on some of the challenges and really not sure how to do that?
Yeah.
What's some advice you'd probably give to those?
It's hard to just say one thing, but I would just say, like, don't be afraid to take risks. I've taken a lot of risks in my life, and that's kind of what's gotten me to where I am today. And don't be afraid of what other people think of you, because it can be, I feel like that's the one thing that I've seen, like when I talk. So I worked at ACU for a while in the Grigg Center. So that's like the entrepreneurship center. And I feel like the biggest thing that I saw was just that people were just too nervous to do it. I'm like, y'all have great ideas. Like one of the things I did over there was I just met with students and listened to their business ideas and encouraged them and helped them get resources that they needed to do it. And so I just feel like the biggest thing that I'm like, there's all these great ideas, but they're just too nervous to do it. I don't know if it's what people are going to think of them or what, but you just got to put that aside and give it a shot. Men, girls and guys.
Do you ever catch yourself talking to these people just about your faith? You're a believer, right?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
so, I mean, that's gotta, and sometimes what I love about that is that can come out in people, you never even have to go there.
Yeah.
But you just know that, hey, there's something about this person that's got this inner,
and at ACU, thankfully that was something that was talked about comfortably there.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a doubt that 99% of the kids that are there are Christian. And so it was easy to talk about like bringing that aspect. And that was a huge thing with the mill too, was like our relationship with God, what I felt like God was saying and providing was like, okay, that's pretty. And I feel like it's been the same with everything I've ever done. It's been very black and white, yes or no. And so if it was ever a no, that's how I also knew. So that would be some advice I give someone is pray about it. And don't be that person that just because you want to start selling little earrings or whatever it is, just because you want to do it, that doesn't always mean that's what God's telling you to do. I feel like people use that a lot. Is like, God's telling me to do this. I'm like, is he?
How do you describe the way you would hear him?
Like very, very clear signs. It's never been like a voice from heaven, like, yes, Karson, do it. It's like if it's not meant to be, something significant happens in my life and it is shut off.
Yeah. So
and
it's
if
like
it's
you
meant
listen
to be,
with your eyes, you see things. Yeah.
Yes. And I never try to force anything. If it's feeling forced, that's a no.
That's good.
For me. I feel like you're forcing that. Is that God opening the door, or are you
it's
got an
be
axe
peaceful.
and you're
have some
trying
peace
to
in it.
chunk the door down?
With the mill, that wasn't just because this wasn't like the rest of these things where you just dabbled into something. This was big.
Yes.
So what all was that process like?
Like I said earlier, the mill was never on our radar. The mill became even an inkling in our mind when I was reached out to about putting on a market there in May of last year. So I put on this spring market, and when I was originally talking to the previous owners, they had asked if I would just become their like market person, if I would start putting these markets on 3 or 4 times a year. And in the process of going from planning the market and the market actually happening. So we knew we were going to get the mill by the time that the market actually came around. But in that time in between, something came up about, well, I wish you could buy the mill. And I'm like,
you said what?
Well, I wish I could buy the mill too. I didn't know it was for sale. And also, I'm 25. I was 25 at the time. Where do you think I'm going to get that kind of money? Like, I don't. And they were like, well, are you serious about wanting the mill? I'm like, yes. My lifelong dream has been to have a wedding venue. And like the wine bar side, I thought it was going to be a lot easier than it was. Yeah. But we can do, like, we'll do that too. We'll just keep it running. And so they were like, well, we're going to talk, like, let us talk with the ownership group. And like, if you're serious, like, we want you to have it. And so that was one of the first like God things, was like how adamant they were of like, we want you to have it. And I'm like, okay, perfect. Well, I'd love to have it, but we'll see where it goes. And so conversations happened and things happened. We had to get an investor, Matt. And I'd never worked with an investor, but that was the only way we were going to be able to make it work. Because we're 25. We're like, we don't have all this money to put down for a down payment for a $1.3 million property. Like that's not our book, but they were very helpful in terms of like investors, and things kept falling into place. And when I did my big pitch to Matt of like, here's all the things we want to do for you, and like, here's how you can. I was
there, and it was really good. She did an awesome job.
He just looked at me at the end and said, "You didn't even have to tell me any of that. I had a vision from God before I came here today that I was meant to help you guys with this, and I'm going to help you guys with this." And it was like, oh, I'm just like sobbing. I get in the car after, I'm like sobbing. I'm like, okay, perfect. So everything just kept like falling into line. And then the previous owners were super flexible. They were doing some other stuff with another business of theirs in another city where they needed to transfer the TABC or whatever, all the stuff. So it kind of gave us this in-between time to start managing. So we really just managed it from May or start of June till October. We closed in October. So we officially started owning in October.
Which was cool and also interesting. I didn't know that part because in that transition lap, because you hadn't closed, you had a time to go,
yes,
I'm not doing this.
Yes.
Even though I'm this far in, you could have.
Yes. And they were so gracious to us. They helped. They didn't just throw us in there and make us figure it out. They kind of held our hand the whole time and showed us everything. And like we tried to keep it as similar as the mill's always been because it's been there for 10 years. We didn't want to come in and just throw everything out the window. Sure. So they really taught us a lot about, they gave us all the recipes. They gave us all the everything that we needed to be successful, and even like getting our TABC filed, all of our stuff. They were so helpful. And in that transition time, yes, we had the option to say we don't want to do it anymore, but also they gave us time to kind of save up more to put towards that down payment when we closed in October. So it was just like everything was like, this is like a miracle. Like, I don't know how this came to be. And I knew the owners because of ACU. I had been involved in the Griggs Center and then worked with one of the owners for a couple years outside of school. And that's how we knew each other. So.
To land this, here's where I want to go. We've talked about your dad and all that. I would bet that a lot of that you get from Mama.
Yeah.
So I want to know about your relationship with Marcy and the impact she's made on your life.
Yes. She is the biggest cheerleader in my life. She is always going to be supportive. So I know she's not the sign from God because she's always going to be supportive no matter what it is that I'm doing. But she is, if you know my mom, you know she is the biggest helper, cheerleader, hospitality woman, and that has been
caregiver. You watch her with your sister and the way she's been able to be there for her. And
So my dad is the energy guru. He's going to jump in and do what needs to be done. He's tearing walls down with his tools. And my mom is more of the rock, the solid, steady. Not that my dad's not, but she's the same.
And
she is there to support us. She's there to do whatever needs to be done. She cleans the bathrooms at the mill. That's what she does up there. Nobody wants to do that. And my mom is like, well, let me do that. It's
always been like that, though, in your home growing up.
Yeah.
It's just always been. So you can always go to her. It's like a safe place. Yeah. You catch yourself ever just really like going to her with things?
Yeah. I feel like now that I'm married, I really go more to Harrison. But there are still times that I do call my mom, and she's still the person that I lean on. I think it'll be that way till I'm an old lady. So
there's just some things that parents... you just go to your parents. Like, for me, it's my dad. I go to my dad for all kinds of stuff, and he still is a dad. That never stops, no matter if you're 39 retired from a career or 26 entrepreneur or whatever it may be. Like, dad is dad, parents, anyway. So it's cool to, to hear that you've got a relationship. I think a lot of people don't have that, relationship with their parents. And so,
yeah, you have a unique thing that you've got a great family. But I love that we went there because a lot of times my wife is like this. There's a leadership theme called obscurity. And in my opinion, it's the greatest that there is. And this is the people that do things that you don't even have a clue that they're doing. They call you didn't have any idea. They sent you the text and no one else got to read. They clean the things you didn't even think about doing. These are like the most valuable people.
Yep.
But sometimes they don't get the credit, and not that they seek credit. They're like this because they don't want the credit. They don't. They literally.
Yes.
But it's nice sometimes to stop. If we don't pause and get still and sit in the seasons of our life, we can miss those kinds of people. And you don't ever want to look up and not have that. And it's a challenge to be that.
Speaking of seasons, what do you consider yourself a week to week type of person, and just kind of, or maybe a more broad question, where do you see, you're 26, about to be a mama, business owner, where do you see yourself in 15, 20 years down the road?
So I have no idea. I don't know.
I don't think Karson knows what she's doing Monday.
That's what I was going to say. You said some people are week to week person. I'm like an hour to hour person.
Hour to hour, yeah.
I don't even know what I'm doing after I leave this podcast today. I know there's things, I know what needs to be done, but I'm like, I don't know. My husband asked me, like, what are you doing tomorrow? I don't know. I'll know when I wake. I know what time I need to get up, and I'll.
How many unread text messages and emails do you have on your phone right now?
Oh gosh, it was like 100. It's over there.
It's high.
It's in the 200 range for text, and the emails are probably at like
that gives me anxiety just hearing it.
Yeah. Well, you'll be good to know. My emails are at 39,000.
Okay, so
my
I'm
missed
half.
calls are at 89. I'm pretty good with text, but I'm still behind right now.
I have anxiety just listening to that.
My friend Byron Stevenson, he'll get in the 1300s on his texts.
Oh,
that's correct.
He's good at texting me back. I'm not good at.
It's freedom. I think having to clear all that stuff out and getting it's like, calm down, man. It's okay.
I just hate
some people argue the other way.
If the little red icon wasn't there, I'd be fine. It just drives me
It's there, man. It's there.
I just don't see it anymore. It's not there for me. I don't see it.
Okay. Well, that was fun. And who knows what they'll do with all this. And thanks for coming on here and hanging out with us.
Welcome.